What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some more Q4 topics, and this is something that Stephen was talking about on one of the teachings that we did this week. And I did a little bit more research and just really wanted to share what I found because I thought it was pretty interesting and could help give some insight to those of you out there trying to find success with print on demand in Q4. So to set up the scenario a little bit, we are doing one of our teachings where we're showing how to go from concept all the way to actual listing up on Amazon. And he started this kind of rabbit trail type of call with the keyword Halloween. And after going down kind of the rabbit trail of following, that Halloween keyword phrase, all the way down to finding something that's a little bit more niche down and something that he was looking for a landing zone that passed the 5-step test, or our WingMan 5-step test. And that's how he came to this keyword phrase, which better have my candy, shirt, Halloween gifts. And this doesn't actually pass our 5-step test, which we can check by seeing step 1, is it mostly shirts on page? It is. Step 2, is there less than 1,000 results? There is, but looking at the BSRs, it does not have enough sales on this page for us to go after this exact keyword phrase. But because I actually liked this saying, I thought it was funny, and I liked some of the artwork that I was seeing here, and I thought I could definitely create something like this, on Spark. First thing I did was come here, highlight which better have my candy, right-click on it, and go to Tangent Test to check if this was a trademark saying. So this opens up the USPTO office. If you guys haven't heard of this tool before, we have other videos talking about it, but it is fantastic and saves us a lot of time when it comes to trademark searching. So I went ahead and hit search and saw this, which means there are no records, which is actually a good thing. I know this looks like a bit of an error screen, and it even says error up here at the top, but this is a good thing. We want to see that no one else has trademarked that saying, so we can actually use it for our print-on-demand product. So I exited out of that, came back to this page, and because of the way Stephen found this landing zone, I actually went back up to this research bar up here at the top and started typing in which better have my candy, and wanted to see if it was going to autofill for just a bit shorter of a keyword phrase. So I clicked on that, which I actually have open here on another tab. And so when I got to this page, I wanted to run our 5-step test again because this was just my own personal thing that I was going to do. I was going to make this shirt and wanted to see if I could find a landing zone for it. So again, if we run the 5-step test here, we're going to look, does this mostly have t-shirts or similar products, which these are all t-shirts, so that's a good indication. Is it have less than 1,000 results? It has exactly 1,000 results, so it's kind of near the top end, but because this is something I just wanted to test out, I would put a shirt here. And then the next thing we want to look at is that BSR. And so we can see here that these actually have the shirts and the listings that are selling here actually have 8 out of the top 10 have BSRs, and there are 2 that are under 1 million. These 2 right here, and then this one over here. If DS Quick View will get out of the way, you can see that one right there also has under 1 million. And so now you guys are kind of caught up with the story. So I'm actually going to go up here, turn DS Quick View off, and reload both of these pages so we can talk about just the artwork on both of these pages. And this is the part that I think is interesting and kind of cements some of the ideas that I've been talking about, that you don't necessarily need to be a graphic designer. You just need to be able to see patterns and how powerful just seeing what patterns are working truly is. And so I'm going to be clicking back and forth between these 2 tabs. Just remember that the one that has the longer keyword phrase did not pass the 5-step test, and the one that has the shorter keyword phrase did pass the 5-step test. But I'm actually going to start with the one that had the longer keyword phrase and did not pass the 5-step test, and start talking about the artwork here. And we're going to use that same, we're just trying to identify patterns here, and that's patterns in 3 different areas: the color, the actually icons or the graphical images that they're using, and the sayings that we're seeing work here. Now that last one, the sayings, is kind of a given on this type of landing zone where it's very much driven by what's going to be on the shirt. And if we just take a quick glance at almost all of these, all of them except for these 3 sponsored ones here at the beginning have that which better have my candy. So again, Amazon knows that a customer that is typing in this exact keyword phrase is looking for something on the shirt that says which better have my candy. And so, we don't really have to, as long as we trademark check that saying, we don't have to worry too much about the saying that we're going to put on the shirt. We're pretty confident that is what we have to use to not only be ranked here, but to have some sales in this area. So we want to focus more on those 2 other areas of what colors are working and what type of imagery is working here. So if we're looking at color, just starting with this first one, we're going to move all the way through. We can see orange clearly is what's working on this design. They have a lot of orange. These two designs are actually very similar, but knowing that orange is a pretty popular color on this landing page. And again, this third one has orange. It has some white text in there, which again, white text usually works very well. And then just some blue, but that's really to just like finish up this nice piece of artwork. It's not necessarily like a bold color that a customer might be picking the shirt because it has some blue in there. So if we're moving on, we're seeing this one that is all text-based. There's no graphical images in here, but this is just using orange and white. So two colors we already have kind of cataloged and ready to use in our own design. And then again, moving over here, this is like more of a brown, but it's because it's the broom. And again, that's more of like the image and not necessarily like selling the design because of that brown being in this design here. So moving through, this is the same design, just on a different product. And this one is actually an orange, garment, this baby onesie, with black text on there. So again, orange and black being very popular. I think Halloween, you can kind of assume that, but this one is a little bit different. And so something you want to, again, just keep in mind if we want to do different variations, if we want to do some split testing, here is something we could try, like a white and a gray color on a red shirt. Amazon is showing that, so that means customers have some interest in it. And so again, if we want to do like a different color variation, maybe that's something we try. But because we're seeing all of this orange and white, that's probably the two colors that we mostly want to use. So looking at these last two, they also have some different color variations. This is maybe like a dark purple, the hat here, with a darker orange. So something to keep in mind. Again, good color variations, but maybe not the first color variation that we want to use for our design as we're creating it. And then this one has, red accents as well as like an actual person in here. And so that's the next thing that I want to talk about is the actual icons or the graphical images that they're using for each of these designs. And so again, we're just looking for the patterns here. We're not trying to say which one do we like best or which one do we think is the highest quality art. We're just trying to see the pattern. So we're seeing, a witch riding a broom with a moon in the background. Again, a witch riding the broom. That's basically the same piece of artwork. But here's like a different style. But again, a witch riding a broom with this like moon or orange, glow in the background. And then one more time down here. So 4 out of the top 10 all have this witch riding a broom. And these two designs that have, all text but this broom in here are kind of supporting our idea, again, that like a witch riding a broom or like those types of imagery and things are what we want to be using in our design. And again, with this witch hat, something that's themed around the same idea, like witch hats, witch riding a broom, and actual just broom by itself. Those are 3 different elements. Again, if you want to split test, you can try all 3. But if you just want to make one design, like keep in mind that those are the 3 things that you want to be using. So if you can incorporate all 3 of them, that would be good. This is where I wanted to pause for a moment and just remind you that this was that longer keyword phrase, and this actually did not pass the 5-step test. So we wouldn't put a shirt here, but I just thought it was an interesting exercise to go through and see the types of designs that are here on this page where there aren't as many sales as this next page that we're going to look at. And so I want to do the same thing, look at the patterns of what's working here. Again, remembering that this page, the one that has the shorter keyword phrase, does actually have more sales and is somewhere that we would put our own shirts. And I want to compare and contrast kind of what's working as far as these graphical elements. And again, just like point out how powerful it is to be able to use the same exact saying on the shirt, because again, we're going to assume, or we can even look that all of these shirts have the same exact saying, but the artwork is slightly different. And so by keying in onto what patterns are working on landing pages that have, they pass our 5-step test and they have a good amount of sales happening there, then we can create artwork that is specific for customers who are coming here and ready to buy, and not create something that we might think, looks the best or something that we personally would wear, but rather that customers are actually buying. So very quickly, I will look at the sayings, but we're looking at basically every single one here in the top 10 does actually say, which better have my candy. So, that's something we clearly want to use. If a customer is typing in, again, this specific of a landing zone or results page, we should probably be using this in our shirt design. So as we scroll back down, we're going to look at those 2 other patterns, which is the color and the type of icons they are using, or I should say that are being used most here that customers are actually purchasing. So just quickly looking at each one of these, we're seeing, again, orange on black is working well. This one actually has purple, but is kind of an outlier here. There's some purple over here, but that's something to keep in mind. Again, like a darker purple or a lighter purple. Might work for a girl's spin-off of this shirt. But lots of orange and white on black, or just orange altogether on black, or even black on white. So again, just keeping in mind, like, those three colors are really what's working for us here. And so now, saving the most interesting thing that I found with this little experiment that I did was looking at the icons that are being used here. And if we look, for the most part, these are all just text-based shirts. There are some that have like little candy corn, or again, that witch's broom is working here. And even this one that has a little witch, but again, remember that's sponsored, so we don't want to pay too much attention to that one. And so really the highlight of each one of these designs is those big block letters, or the saying that's standing out much more than any design that's pushing these forward. And so that's the idea that I kind of want to convey through this whole video. I know I took you down like story lane a little bit here, but this is what I'm trying to get across to you guys, is the power of, one, finding these landing zones that actually pass our 5-step test, but then looking at the patterns on each one of these pages specifically and trying to understand the customers that are coming here and spending their money on these types of shirts. So again, this landing zone, the shorter keyword phrase, has mostly text-based shirts, not a whole lot of graphical images going on here, but the same saying and the same colors as this one that we showed before with the longer keyword phrase, that actually, this page has much more, I would say high quality designs. These take a lot longer to make, but they're not selling as well. So those are things to like keep in mind, and just shows you whether you're making the highest quality art, or, just doing text-based designs, as long as you're giving the customers what they're looking for, where they're looking for it, that's really the power of what we're trying to do here. And that's why our art style can change so much and kind of be fluid, is because we're just focusing on serving the customers that we have right in front of us with each one of these landing zones. And I do actually want to open up Spark. I wasn't planning on doing that. But I don't want to show, exactly how I'd make a design, but just, again, show you guys how simple it can be to create one of these designs. Whether you want to use the witch riding the broom, which isn't working as well, or just a text-based shirt. This is a design that we made last night on that call that I was talking about. But if I go ahead and delete all these elements out, add in a new text box and type in "which better have my candy." Going to remove the shape on the back end of that, just take that right off. Expand this text to be nice and big, just like some of those shirts that we saw. Again, taking inspiration from them. Going to change the font real quick to something that I think is a little bit more Halloween-y, if you will. Change this to capitalize and fit, and expand this again. And we can just change it to that orange very quickly. And you can see, just like in a few minutes, even in a few seconds, you can really create something that you can actually be competitive with. And then that's not even to show off the icons that we get with Adobe Spark. Again, 100% for free. They're actually paying for us to use these icons. If we type in witch, there's going to be a ton of different icons that we can use, whether you want just the witch's hat, or if we go back into icons, there's actually like witches riding brooms, which look very familiar to some of those other listings. And all different types of like Halloween type things, and witches, even again, like we said, on that circle with like the moon behind them. And it's very easy to manipulate these, change the color, do whatever you want to them, and add those to your designs as well. So I hope you guys found that somewhat interesting, me showing off kind of like what's working versus what's not working, and how you guys can do this for yourself. You're just looking at the patterns. You don't have to come up with all these crazy ideas and know exactly what the customers are buying. We can look at what Amazon is showing us customers are actually buying, take inspiration from that and go make our own designs quickly and effectively right here inside of Spark. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. We're going to be sticking back to that schedule of Tuesday and Thursday uploads, but we would love for you guys to join us on our Monday call. We'll have a link actually down in the description of this video if you guys want to join us on that Monday call. It's going to be 100% on Zoom now, so you guys can just register for that and get into those calls regardless if you're in our Facebook group or not. But yeah, we look forward to helping you guys more with this Q4 stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and we'll see you guys around.